The PlayStation 5 is coming in less than 12 months, and so, of course, the rumors and leaks are spinning around the internet like a gossipy tornado. But today, we'd like to step back from 5G controllers and solid-state drives to go over some of the finer points of the PS5, the little things that make a big difference. After buying PlayStation games for the past 25 years and building up a library of the classics, you would hope that you'd still be able to play them on the newest PlayStation rig. Well, the PS4 dashed everyone's hopes in that regard, but the PS5's looking to right the wrongs of the past. Apparently, it'll be backwards compatible all the way back to the PS1, and even better, it'll let you play online with PS4 users. But what about the games of the future? Sony has been reticent to say too much before their official console reveal, but here are some of the games we think could be available at launch. Control, which has already been released on the current generation, is one of the most visually impressive games out there, but it looks best on PC where it uses ray tracing to take the graphics to the next level. It will likely get a next-gen launch port because, as Sony and Microsoft can't remind us of enough, the power of their new consoles will enable ray tracing. God of War, which came out last year, was a game for the ages. It won awards and set new standards for third-person, story-driven action games. It's also a PlayStation exclusive, so releasing a sequel at launch would be logical, to say the least. Although Sony Santa Monica, the developer, hasn't announced a sequel, they've put up some job postings that suggest a second installment is in the works. Then there's Watch Dogs Legion, which is the sequel to Watch Dogs 2. It's set in a totalitarian drone-infested version of London, where you play as a diverse group of people who formed the resistance to a giant tech company called Albion. If any one of the members of your group dies, then they are gone for good, and you've got to switch to a different character. And there are a lot of characters to choose from. There are old-school Guy Ritchie brawlers, young MMA fighters, and even old ladies. Legion will be releasing for this gen and next gen consoles sometime in the middle of next year. Gods and Monsters is made by the same people as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and as you can probably guess by the title, it's about mythical creatures and one little hero's quest to save the Greek gods. The reveal trailer says that when heroes need help, they turn to the gods. When gods need help, they turn to you. The art style is also a huge departure from Assassin's Creed. It's more impressionistic, a welcome break from the same old Ubisoft look, and the story seems like it'll be less constrained by real-life historical events, too. The game is coming out in February, but will likely have a next-gen version next fall. Do you ever play video games and think, man, I wish I could only control my character's leg? Well, be careful what you wish for. Sony might be making your dreams a reality with their new leaked PS5 feature, bifurcation of shared controls. Let's break this down. Bifurcation means the division of something into two branches or parts. So on the PS5, there just might be an option to divide up the buttons on a controller so that individual players can use, say, just the joysticks, or just the triggers, or just the square, circle, triangle, or X buttons from a different controller. If you're listening to this and thinking, why on God's green earth would I want to have 6 people sitting on my couch, each controlling a small aspect of a character's movement, then you're not alone. But this new feature isn't just Sony trying to promote elbow contact between friends. The real reason behind this new patent is to make the PS5 more accessible. Let's say someone doesn't have the ability to play video games with their left hand, just their right. Then they can just use their right hand and invite a left-handed friend over. Although this is nice of Sony, it's also opening up a huge market for them. In the US alone, there are more than 100,000 people who've had upper body amputations, and many more with restricted mobility in their hands and fingers. There are other uses too. Although Sony hasn't come out and said anything about it, the patent that got leaked looks awfully complete. Using what they call an input aggregation server could make this possible online, and it could even have an effect on gameplay. In some implementations, Sony says, the shifting of the division of controls can be at a set point in the game, or can be dynamically in response to some condition. So maybe if there's a point in a game where 2 players have to perform a different aspect of one task, like hoisting someone over a fence, for example, you could just team up. Unlike the discount version of the new Xbox, the PS5 will indeed have a disk drive. You'll be able to go to the store, exchange cold hard cash for a physical copy of a game, bring it home and stick it into your PlayStation. You can even swap it with your friends, as Sony illustrated at the beginning of this console generation. So how are you feeling about multiplayer VR? What about multiplayer on one controller? Or just the PS5 in general? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer.